Howdy viewers, Bobby Brown here, Guns and Drums. And you know, the other day I reviewed and shot the 870 or the Remington Express Magnum, and it was great. I reviewed it and I finally cleaned it up. I broke it all down, took the choke out, took everything apart, cleaned it real good, put it back together, and said, wow, I should have done that on video. That was pretty cool. So I'm about to do that, but before I take the gun apart and show you how it goes back together, we'll talk about some of my goodies here. You know, I don't use any fancy cleaning goods. I've got some old items. I know these vintage boxes are really cool. But, you know, I still got my cleaning stuff in there. A couple, a very good assortment of bore brushes for pistols and handguns, and of course swabs and whatnot. Keep them in my box there. I always keep a soft brass bristle brush. Ooh, a little frog grease in there. I need to save that. And you know, just the average stuff. Screwdriver. There's a punch in one of these things here, so you can punch out these pins and stuff that are so popular in firearms. And like to clean with something like this. I also use the Rem oil too, whatever I can find and buy. Cleaner, lubricant, preservative, works pretty good. Really good for cleaning. But what I really like to do is clean it up with this and then apply this stuff that my good buddy Albatross let me borrow. He gave me a tub of this frog grease. And this stuff is quite pleasant. I mean, it almost smells like Bengay or something like that, something you could actually rub on your own sore muscles. But it's actually a high quality grease. And once he let me have some of this stuff, I was like, wow. You apply it to the action and just about anywhere. Some people even apply it to the external surfaces for rust protection. But the hotter it gets, the better it lubricates. So it's really, really good stuff. I've taken a liking to it. So now, with this gun completely assembled, let me make sure you can see. It looks like you can see okay. Like I said, I've already had it apart, but we're going to take it apart again to show you how Remington 870, pretty popular shotgun, and most other pump action shotguns work the same way. So the first thing you want to do is get the action back and unscrew the top. A little nut here. Let's get that barrel off first thing. It comes out pretty easily. Oh yeah, it's clean, it's got grease on it. I'm not going to do anything but take it apart and put it back together for you. Okay, so once you've got your barrel off, you then have to remove the pump. And this can be a little bit tricky. The thing about it is there is slides. See this slide here? There are a slide rail stop, if you will, right at the end of the receiver on each side. And it's really easier to feel than it is to see. So you're going to have to stick your finger up in here and you'll feel that one as you pull it out. Then you want to go over here to the other one and pull it out. And once you get them released, the whole thing, bolt and all, will come right off. Just like that. Okay, now this is the tricky part here. This is your bolt, and it has some various parts that need oiling. Now where's my rag? And this one's oiled up really well. I took it all apart, and that would be the only thing that I'd tell you to be really careful with is the bolt. And I'm going to take it off so you can see it. There. Okay, it's slippery because it has grease all over it. But this is the bolt, and inside is your firing pin. This device here, inside there is your firing pin. I'll put that back because this thing here actually fits into these grooves. Those grooves on the slide rail. So, you got the gun apart, with the exception of the trigger the trigger housing. And the trigger housing is simple. You punch these two pins out right here, ding, dang, pull it out. The gun, yeah, it had been shot. Yeah, I bought it used, and it had a burr. I don't know if you can see it in here. Let me get the shot shell down. But it had a burr right there on that rail. It was obvious. I could feel it. It was sharp. So I took some grease and a wire brush, and I worked it real good, and now it's smooth, and it seems to actually, the action seems to work a little bit better. So taking it apart and getting inside, cleaning it all out, investigating the shot tube. No, it does not have a plug in it. It will hold 5 shot shells, and just giving it a really good cleaning. The barrel has been douched, already cleaned, and shiny as new money. I don't think you'll be able to see that. With a little luck, maybe you'll catch a reflection or something. I'll put this paper down there. You probably can't see anything. But the bore is super clean on this gun and shiny. And it has a really cool, what is called the gobbler getter or something. I don't know. My son Googled it. Really cool choke tube in here. True Glow Gobbler Killer or something, I don't know. Super Turkey Choke. So you can see it threads in, and as my buddy Albatross said, it acts as a muzzle brake and a choke. So, and these things are about $45-50 a choke, and you can see where I've lubricated the threads real good. And so it's kind of cool. You can change the chokes out on your barrel and get full, modified, improved, I suppose. This one's shooting a 3-inch Magnum. I understand the fellow was turkey hunting with it, so it makes sense that this would be the True Glow Gobbler choke. My barrel is clean. My ventilated rib has been, like to blow the dust out from them. We're going to go ahead and put the choke back in. Now everything's completely lubricated, so that's why I'm not cleaning anything. I'm just putting it back together to show you how a pump action shotgun disassembles, so to speak. Now let me say this. I'm no firearms expert, nor am I a gunsmith, but I'm going to guess that with these threaded barrels, so that they receive, where'd my choke go? So that they receive these threads right about there somewhere. They're going to receive the threads. I'm going to guess that it wouldn't be a good idea to shoot a slug through this. You know, hey, take the choke out. Oh, right, it's an open choke now. Let's blast some slugs through it. I'm not going to put any slugs through it. I don't think it'd be a good idea. I don't think it'd be good for those threads. No gunsmith, but common sense tells me that those threads are either going to fill up with lead as the slug exits, or it's just going to take the threads with it as it exits. So I'm saying no slugs for this one. I have an 1100 with an improved cylinder barrel that loves slugs, so I'll shoot that one. But I'm saying no slugs with this one for that reason. And once you get the choke tube in there, you can feel the threads start to bite. And they are fine threads, so you want to keep them bad boys clean and oiled well. And then I use my trusty pajamas to put the whammy on it. Now, before I start to put this thing back together, Granny's or my wife's, I'm not really sure, but pajamas are great. They make great bore swabs. I don't buy the little patches. I just cut my own out of something soft like this. Some material's better than other. A lot of material leave cotton residue or whatever you want to call it. But these PJs, old PJs, work great. Thank you, Granny. Alright, now, let's put this thing back together. The first thing we're going to do is put the slide, the pump, back together. And we're going to make sure that this bolt fits into that carrier just like that. You see that? Okay, now let me just add that putting it back together is a lot harder than taking it apart. And that is because Once you get everything sliding in here, you have got to miraculously get in here again, push your shell door open so you can get your fingers in there, and there's a little slide rail catch on the right that you want to try to get first. Okay, I think I've got the right one. And you can't go too far because then the left one won't engage. So now I'm going to go up here and try to get the left one. And I got a cut on my finger right there, which feels really good. Okay, the left one is eluding me right now. There's that little thing on my finger. It hurts like hell when I stick it in there. Okay, let's try it with this one. I think I'm going to have to come out just a little bit, which kind of stinks, but I'm going to come out with my rail and try again. Sometimes, if you don't first succeed, you must try again. Okay. Let's take it back out now because I'm not having much luck. Alright, she is riding there. There is my release. Okay, let's try this again. Like I said, getting it apart is a lot easier than getting it together. Okay, there we go. Now, one thing that you will struggle with if you're not careful is this right here. And I should have showed you why the bolt was out. But the slide release pump, I keep calling it a slide. I guess it's a slide because these are slide rails that are attached to the pump handle. This pump release, pow, when you hit it right here, it releases the pump action. When there's one locked up, you know, when the battery's locked. So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if you don't have that thing up, these slide rails will crash into it, and you'll sit there and struggle for days. Before it'll just, see it, it was pow pow right back in there. Just push that shell door up, got both of the side rail stops, push to the side one at a time, slide it back in, bolt and all, and make sure that you depress this bad boy. And voila, you're back in. Now, for the barrel, which is a simple slide it in the receiver and over this doodad right here, magazine tube. Screw the cap back onto the magazine tube, and voila. That is how you take apart a pump shotgun. I hope you guys got something out of that, because it's been a while since I had an 870 in my collection, and I'm really pleased to have one. It's a great gun, and I plan on shooting it a bunch. Bobby Brown here. Keep it pointed in a safe direction. Hope you enjoyed that review. I'd like to go out and do some shooting, so I'm out of here. Take it easy.